Hey, welcome everybody to DBC Inc.'s Thursday night Facebook Live. We're so glad that you're here joining us. When you get here, please just pop your name over there in the comments, say hello. Let us know where you're coming from tonight. And hey, I'm assuming now everybody's on break. I think some people actually even worked today at some school districts, but most people have had the week off. So make sure you let us know that you're on break. I don't think anybody's working on Christmas Eve tomorrow, I think, but there were some districts that were still in school on the 23rd, believe it or not. If you're one of those districts, I'm so sorry, but let us know if that's the case. I saw some people talking on Twitter about that, and it's just wild to think that there was school on the 23rd, but that's the way it goes, I guess. So again, just enter your name, any name that gets entered in over there on the comments. You will be eligible for a prize. You can win a book tonight. We will scroll through and randomly pick somebody over in the comments, and you'll be receiving a free DBC Inc. book. And so that'll be fantastic. I see Lisa is joining us. What's up, Lisa? Thank you so much for popping into the Facebook Live tonight. We appreciate you. And it's getting crunch time for the holidays, I know, for a lot of people. And so it might be kind of tough to join in tonight. Lots of stuff going on, last minute shopping, etc., of which I may or may not have some to do, but we won't really talk about that tonight, I don't think. And we are hoping to be joined by Adam Dovico tonight. He's the author of When Kids Lead and the Limitless School. And while we're waiting to see if he's going to pop in here, I wanted to give you a little background on something about one of his books. And that is this book right here, The Limitless School. There's a story behind this cover that I'll share with you while we're waiting. And I'll pop Tara in here.
Hey, friends.
Tara Martin, how are you doing?
Great. How are you?
I'm doing fine. A little background story on the Limitless School cover.
Yeah.
Hey,
Adam,
Amy is here. Hey, Amy. Good to see you. And so this cover right here looks just kind of ordinary, right? And so the idea behind the Limitless School is about, you know how a Rubik's Cube seems overwhelming? Like how in the world is someone to solve a Rubik's Cube? But if you know the secret, if you know some of the algorithms, you can solve it quite easily. And I happen to be a Rubik's Cube person, so I can verify this, right? And so their idea was school culture is the same way. It's that it seems overwhelming, it seems difficult to solve, but if you know of some of the secret patterns, some of the things, the algorithms, so to speak, of solving school culture, you also can make a huge difference in your system. And so that was kind of the background behind wanting to have a Rubik's Cube on there. They talk about that in the introduction of the book. Well, Rubik's wasn't too happy about that. And so apparently there's quite a trademark that's quite enforceable on the Rubik's. Not just a Rubik's Cube, but any three-dimensional rendering of a cube that has like squares on it, whether they're colored or not, it doesn't matter. They have a trademark on it around the world. And in order for their trademark to be good, they have to enforce it in every case. And so they did not want us to do this. And eventually I had to be on the phone with them in London and making arrangements, and we ended up getting a licensing fee or paying a licensing fee in order to use the cube on the front of the book. And so it was very reasonable. They were very easy to work with, but as we've gotten further and further into book publishing, we've kind of realized, we got to like learn all the legalities behind all this kind of stuff too. And so that was one of the early cases of like, oh, hey, I guess we have to have a licensing fee to have that cube on the front of our book. Sean is here. Karen is here all the way from down under. So Karen is joining us. And Sean, good to see you as well. Thank you so much. Kristen is here. Kristen, so late. Kristen, you are usually the first comment. And yet I see like, I don't know, what, 2-3 people ahead of you. I mean, it is the holiday season, so I'm willing to give a break. Adam is joining us. Adam, good to see you. And not surprisingly, in one of your trademark, unbelievable suits.
Well, last time we did this, it was just me and you, Dave, and you were like, "Where's your suit?" So I promised next time I was on, I would come more prepared. So 'tis the season. I'm ready.
Yes, that is a beautiful suit. Is that light? Is the Christmas lights on there? Is that what we got?
It's just printed. A lot of people think it lights up. It does not. I have not gotten that fancy yet. So
No, no, no. I like it better like this. That's like
yeah.
that's like a legit suit like this. Yeah. Yeah, so thanks so much for popping in. So Adam, I was just telling them that you are the author of the Limitless School. I was giving a little background on the Rubik's Cube on the front. And also the co-author of When
Yes.
Kids Lead. Right here we have, and this he wrote with Todd Nesloni. And this is his most recent book with us. It's fantastic, all about empowering students to become leaders, not only in the school system, but in their life. And so, Adam, maybe give us a little background about what you're doing now, where you're coming to us from, and all that for the listeners.
Right on. So I'm in North Carolina, and oddly going to be warm North Carolina. You would think it would be cold, but we're going to have 70-degree weather tomorrow. I'll take it. And I'm in a public elementary school, and I'm doing kind of like a curriculum role. I'm a former principal, and I got out just in time of COVID, and that worked out nicely. But throughout my career, I've always been kind of through elementary and middle school, former fifth grade teacher. I was a college professor for a little bit. I've traveled the country doing professional development, a little bit of everything. So I've had my toes dipped in a lot of different waters. But at the end of the day, it's always about the kids. I love being with kids. I love working and teaching, and I don't have any other skill sets. So it's just about got to stick with what I know.
I know the feeling.
Yeah.
and so, by the way, so we've crossed paths a couple times out on the road. Of course, at Get Your Teach On in San Diego. But then before that, early on, before you were signed with us or anything, I remember we crossed paths. I feel like it was like in a speaker's lounge of a conference.
You remember that?
Absolutely.
Wow.
It was like in a little kind of like the break room where the speakers go and get away at a conference. And we had a chance to chat a little bit there too.
That was, I think, and you can't quote me on this, but I think that was my first ever conference I was presenting at, maybe first or second. It was very early on. I mean, back 2012 maybe. I mean, it was
quite a while ago.
It was a while back, but
I pulled that out pretty good, huh?
That is awesome, dude. Yeah, I tell people that story sometimes because I mean, yeah, we've had a lot of cross paths, but yeah, that was one of my. I think it was SDE.
Might have been an SDE conference,
but I think it might have been that. Yeah,
could have been. Yeah, for sure. Now I noticed that Lisa said that she's done with shopping, but she's baking. So we want to know what it is that you're baking, Lisa, and whether or not we should get on a plane or sleigh and head your way, depending on what it is that you're making. If it happens to be mint fudge, I might be showing up tonight, just so you know.
Is that your go-to?
I've just about had everything that's within reach of me of mint fudge in the last couple of days. So, I might have to restock some. I also noticed that Sean, by the way, said that he almost wore the same suit tonight. And how awkward would that be? You don't want to be that person, right? That wears the same suit to the Facebook Live. Not at all.
Would have been embarrassing.
Yeah. And so again, thank you so much for everyone who's popping in over in the comments. Be sure that, again, you're going to possibly win one of Adam's books, either Limitless School or When Kids Lead, if you are over there. And so we'll do a little book giveaway tonight. And so, Adam, I think maybe the message you want to focus on is from When Kids Lead. And I know that you've had some stuff going on recently that you've been a part of that maybe you want to talk to our audience about. And so I'm going to let you take it away and tell us what you want to chat about.
For sure. I mean, When Kids Lead is it's my daily life. It's my day to day. It's what I do as a school leader. It's trying to empower students. It's trying to bring leadership to the forefront. And this is just my second year in the school I'm currently at, and so I've had a lot of opportunities now, even through COVID, because I know that's kind of that's on everyone's list of what is going on. But I think there's still opportunities that you can push through to build that student leadership. And so one thing I know I've been really working hard on is this idea of student ownership through building their voice and accountability through things like student data notebooks, student-led conferences. And I dabbled in that in my previous school where I was a principal, but I'm kind of really going full throttle now. And one of the elements that I've been so excited to see over the past several months is every single student in our school from kindergarten through fifth grade has built and continues to build their own data notebook. And so within it is, it might be assessment data, it might be attendance, it might be quizzes, it might be exit tickets, whatever the class kind of decides on how they want to monitor and track data. It's so empowering, and it's been awesome seeing kids not only setting their own goals, but once they kind of hit that mark of like, all right, so I want to get an 85 on this post assessment. Well, you know what? I didn't get that 85, and that, that is what it is. But the cool part is we've taught them how to reflect and, kind of build off of that. So it's not seen as a defeat, it's seen as a learning moment, and how they can work differently. Because I hate the word harder. Like, the kids work hard. How can we work differently now in order to reach that goal next time? And so we've been doing that all year. Like I said, every student, every classroom. And so my next phase is I've been working with a sample group of students. I have a group of first graders and a group of third graders. And over the past month or two, I've been training this group on leading their own student-led conferences. And so that's going to be kind of kicking off in about a month or so with this sample group with their own parents. And so they will get a chance to not only kind of showcase these data notebooks that they've been building, but also kind of talk about their data and talk about their progress and their goals and how they're going to get there. So I'm super excited about just everything that's happening. And I do talk about it in When Kids Lead. And so I always tell my staff, like, if you want to know what we're doing, just read the book. It's there.
Awesome. So a couple of things just to drag in from the comments. I wanted to get back to Lisa real quick and just say that, okay, so you're making zucchini bread tonight. I will not be hopping on a plane and not headed your way for the zucchini bread. No offense. And then I hear that next week is going to be eggnog pie, and I got to be honest with you, I'm going to pass on that too. So,
need your mint.
Yeah, so maybe if you would have had cookies, fudge, something like that. But yeah, the zucchini bread and the eggnog pie, I've never even heard of such a thing, but I'm not so adventuresome with my food, so I think I'm gonna pass. Adam, I have a question for you. Amy over here, so I would love to be able to empower my second graders who are so used to things being done for them, and I think that's true. And by the way, it's not just second graders who are used to things being done for them, it's students K-12. But when you look at this, like say Amy's circumstance in early primary, have you seen some of these things be successful even in the early primary grades?
Yeah, I mean, this is everywhere, and that comment that Amy made is so true. And you know what, Dave, you're a former high school teacher. I think you can argue with me here with this, but I think if we're looking at where work gets done the most, it's frequently in high school. We see high school teachers doing the thinking, doing the work. A lot of high school teachers have that content knowledge that they just want to impart. And as a result, who's doing the work? Like, who's tired at the end of the day?
Yeah. No, I think that's a good point. And it's just, there's sort of like a learned helplessness that happens sometimes in the educational system where, because it's kind of like, wait, you're not going to tell me what to do? Like, you're not going to tell me, they're almost frustrated. At first, they're going to eventually embrace this and love it. But their first reaction to anything that is giving them the choice and freedom is going to be maybe frustration. Like, well, no, just tell me what to do. Like, this is not how this school thing has been set up for me in the past.
Right.
You make the little hoops and I jump through them and then I get my grade. That's the way this has worked for me in every grade before this. What is this whole thing where I'm deciding what hoop I want to jump through? And
exactly.
so I think that teachers have to be ready for the fact that at first you might see a little bit of frustration with students.
Absolutely. But, I'll argue elementary teachers, my people down low here, that it starts with us. And so we can really break kids from that learned helplessness that a lot of them do kind of latch onto. Sometimes it is because they get that support at home. And I'll tell you what, if I get this question a lot, what have you seen coming out of remote learning into now in-person learning for the vast majority of kids? And for kids who are in, that kindergarten, first, second grade realm, who have never had necessarily a full, I'll call it regular, whatever that means now, but what we once knew as a regular school year, that whole group of kids, one of the toughest things we are trying to break them of is how to be independent, because mom and dad were over their shoulder. Some of them, they had mom and dad over their shoulder. And so when teacher was asking a question, parent would be right in their ear, or they would do an assessment. I saw this a lot, is the assessment results when the kids were remote, because of course states still made us do assessments. And so, you get your standardized electronic test. Kids scoring in the 80th, 90th percentile, they get back in person, they're down in the 20th and 30th percentile. I think we know what happened. Mom and dad had a very good day that day. And so that's one of the major things that we're having to kind of break kids of coming out of the remote learning era that we had.
Yeah, Megan here is mentioning this, and teaching them how to problem solve, and then also throw in here, love to see how the students setting daily goals and tracking daily progress in small groups and reading and math and all of that, which could be such a powerful thing. And I agree 100%. So I'm curious, Adam. So we know the powerful impact it can have on kids. We know how it can feel so amazing as an educator to empower your students and to see those light bulb moments and to see them take ownership of their learning. But with these like student-led conferences, especially with parents in the room, what kind of reactions have you seen from parents as their child is leading the conference and talking about their education?
I mean, pride is usually the overwhelming beaming factor that comes from it. And of course, there's a lot of training that goes involved. So we're not throwing the kids in cold turkey. So what the parents are seeing is a very polished version of this process. Obviously, it doesn't start like that. So hats off to all the teachers who build and facilitate this learning process into the culmination of the student-led conference, which takes a lot of work. So the parents are seeing this very polished, put together type presentation, if you want to call it that. And so it is impressive. It is impressive to see a 6, 7, 8-year-old, 9-year-old, and so on, sit down with their parents, open up a notebook, and explain, talk to them as if they were an adult almost, and this analysis that, of course, has been practiced and prepped, but it still sounds very impressive. So there's overwhelming pride that comes from it. And I think even more importantly, there's credibility. There's one thing when it's coming from the teacher, because as teachers, we can spin stories all the ways we want. But when it's coming from the child about their own learning, it just sounds different. It's more authentic. There's credibility behind it. There's truth. There's honesty. There's transparency. And we always frame these conferences as, look, you're not in trouble. You're talking about yourself. Be honest with yourself. You just have an audience. It happens to maybe be mom, grandma, neighbor. I even had a pastor come one time. So, I mean, whoever it is, it's someone that, you may know. And ultimately, the whoever is sitting there as the audience gets to kind of take in the performance, this knowledgeable performance, if you will.
Yeah, and see, Amy has mentioned here that she can verify that some of these assessments during virtual learning
I hear you, Amy.
have turned out to be problematic.
Man.
Yeah. And Lisa also makes a good point too. I think that this all takes time. This is not going to happen overnight. This is not something that's going to be, like you said, this is that student conference with the parent and the teacher in the room. That is the polished end product, maybe, but there's going to be some iterations along the way, some steps along the way to get to that point. And I thought what you said was super powerful when you said the credibility. And I think it gives parents some confidence about what's happening in the school system, which is something we need more of, is parents to be confident with our work, when so often it's being teared down so many places by so many people. And so this is a great way to build that credibility, to build that confidence with parents that their child is in good hands. And wow, I can't believe what I'm seeing here. And just walking away from the process super impressed.
It is. I mean, now more than ever, teaching is under interrogation and scrutiny. And so having that little glimpse of like, hey, look what we're doing here. Man, what a celebration. What a win. I like that comment you just put up from Karen there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so it's on the topic of food, we're having brisket cooked in the smoke. Okay. See, now she probably knew from watching my Instagram feed that she was going to really get me with that brisket comment.
You're always wherever you go. Yeah, I always see you finding good barbecue joints.
I'm in a barbecue place on
Yeah,
almost all my travels, and so
why
it's a
not?
long. I don't know what kind of flight is it to Australia? It's probably a pretty long way for brisket, but it depends on how good the brisket is, I guess.
Have you ever been to Australia?
I have been to Australia. I spoke
Yeah.
in Brisbane and I spoke in Sydney, Australia.
No, I lived in
And then
Brisbane a little bit.
you live there?
Yeah, in college, I went abroad there to
I
University
did
of
not.
Queensland.
I
Yeah.
did not know
Oh,
that.
what a
Yeah,
great
that
place.
that might have been. I'm gonna guess that's probably where I spoke. Actually, I think it was
Oh,
at a
you
conference there.
what a great
But
place.
yeah, I spoke 2 days there at a conference in Brisbane,
Mhm.
and then did an event in Sydney. We were there for about, I don't know, 10 days. Went to um, snorkeled and scuba dived and all that kind of stuff too.
Nice.
And God, what is it called? Airlie Beach. We went to
Yes.
Airlie Beach too.
Yes,
Yeah,
I love that
yeah.
place. Did you eat any kangaroo?
What's that?
Did you eat any kangaroo?
I did not eat any kangaroo. However, we did go interact with the kangaroos,
Yeah.
koalas, and all that kind of stuff like that. Yeah.
Yes.
So that was fun stuff. In fact, oddly enough, the best Indian food I've ever had was in Airlie Beach in Australia. So,
Nice.
oh, yeah.
Love it. Oh, Karen grew up in Brisbane. Look at that.
Look at this
Yes.
small world.
Look at
All
all the
right.
worlds come together. Well,
Yeah.
Karen, I love Brisbane. Awesome place. I went to UQ for a semester. Went back the next year because I missed it so much.
I see Madame Nick has joined us from Winnipeg and wants to. So Karen, it looks like you're going to have lots of people over for brisket. I hope you have
Really?
a lot of brisket that you're cooking up, because it's going to be kind of a big crowd.
Yeah. She's ready. She's
Yeah,
ready.
absolutely. Um, so Nick, I have to tell you that I have my hoodie on because it's a super cold day here in San Diego, and you're in Winnipeg, so you probably don't understand this, but I mean, we're dropping down into the 50s today, and so that's Fahrenheit. So I got all my hoodies out and mittens, and as you would say, what toque? I would say beanie. You would say toque, I believe. I think I have that right. I'm just trying to get my Canadian lingo down. I think that's what it's called, a toque.
Neither of which you deserve to have on right now. I mean, that 50 degrees. I mean, that's some heat wave now in most places.
Heat wave? Are you kidding me? This is
50s.
freezing outside.
Oh, I love
There's
some.
even a little wind with it.
Oh no, that's true.
Yeah.
You pay for better weather.
What's that?
I said you pay the price for good weather, so you
Ain't
you
that the
deserve
truth?
it. You deserve it.
So, Adam, what I want to also talk to you about is you travel, speak, and do programs and stuff like that. So, if people wanted to connect with you and bring you in to talk to their staff about student empowerment and Win Kids, the Win Kids Lead message, Limitless School message, all these different powerful messages. First of all, where can they get a hold of you, and what does that look like? You coming out to do a program? I'm sure you have all kinds of programs that you do.
Yes, sir. So I do travel around, and I'm celebrating my 10th anniversary doing it, which is crazy. 10 years, a decade of traveling, which is awesome. And so you can reach me at my website, which is adamdovico.com, or my social media, which is also at adamdovico. I don't get very creative, so everything is basically my name. And so either way, if you send me a DM or an email, whatever you want to do, happy to set up something. And I do professional development in classrooms, keynotes, sessions, a little bit of everything over the past decade. But
and if you've seen Adam's feed, you can just assume that it's not going to be a dry, boring presentation. And certainly there's going to be probably a very colorful suit involved in it somehow.
There will absolutely be some ridiculous outfit that will come about wherever I go.
We talked about this last time, but maybe there's some people that weren't tuning in last time. So I do want to address this with you, because I'm a believer in this too. And in fact, I almost wore my snowman suit. I should put my snowman suit on for tonight. But if you would have had that on and I would have had the snowman suit on, it just would have been perfect. But anyway, what is it about wearing the wild and crazy suits that you found to be something of significance or effective for you? And that's kind of become your trademark. And so maybe talk to us about where that came from.
So the origins of it were initially just kind of a joke for it was when I was working at the Ron Clark Academy, and we just wore I just bought a random suit one day and just kind of um, people liked it. People liked to laugh at it. And I think I said this last time. Ultimately, I want to make people happy. I think there is so much anger and frustration and hatred that goes around. And so, you know what? If I can make someone smile, laugh, diffuse something, and if I'm at the expense of it, wearing this crazy suit, I'm all for it. I'm here for it. And so sometimes people just need to smile, loosen up, have a good laugh. And the good part is I'm comfortable in my own body wearing this stuff. So I can laugh right there with you. I don't wear it to be serious. It's always a talking point. It's always fun. It gets me kind of into a character, if you will. People are sometimes surprised when they see me out in the street. They're like, "Wait, aren't you that guy that wears all the suits? Why aren't you wearing one?" No, I don't wear it all the time. It's not my normal attire. But when I'm in the elements and in my little domain of education, yeah, I wear it to have some fun. And I think whether you call it a costume, a fun suit, whatever you want to call it, it's just something that gets people's attention. And in a world where it's hard to set yourself apart sometimes, this is something small that I can do to set myself apart.
Yeah, and absolutely it brightens people's day. I sometimes I have a matching snowman suit with my son Finn, and we go off and we'll go to a shopping center or something like that, and you are immediately, you just see faces light up everywhere you go. People take pictures, people do all, it's just like a whole bunch of people's days got a little bit brighter just for that short period of time. But then you think about, I just did a podcast on this about whether Santa's real, and talking about the impact of Santa Claus on a plane that I was flying, and the entire plane, the dynamic and culture of that plane switched when people realized that we were flying with Santa Claus. Mm-hmm. And it's just one guy in a red suit, but it absolutely changed the whole dynamic. And so it's kind of like, what kind of energy do you bring into the space that when you come in, and how do you make people feel when they're in your presence? And this is a small thing that you do, which makes a big difference. And so I love it. And a couple of questions I see popping in on the side. First of all, people are sharing their weather, which is probably pretty annoying for some of you people experiencing hard winters right now. But hey, you know what? You chose to live there, so okay. But anyway, Megan, let's pop this one up. Megan asked, do you allow visitors or other educators to your school for observing? Do you ever have people in to show them around?
So once upon a time, at my former school where I was a principal, I did all the time. I would be giving tours almost daily to people. Unfortunately, just with COVID now, our district is super strict. And so right at this moment, we're not even allowing parents in, unfortunately, at this juncture. So,
yeah,
maybe one day. Maybe one day.
Just when we thought that maybe we were moving past this, all of a sudden it's like worse again. So that makes perfect sense. I didn't even think about that, but that makes perfect sense. Amy, by the way, mentioned that she loved learning from you. Met you at RCA and at GYTO, which is get your teach on. And so that's fantastic. Karen's bragging about being in the 90s.
I'll show you, baby. That's where we need to be. Man.
So wait a second. It's 90s and brisket. This is starting to become like a pretty good deal. Now, Lisa in Arizona is offering up 68 and some bread and eggnog pie. But I don't know if you're competing with the 90s and brisket. I don't. But Arizona's a quicker hop for me. So
you're right there.
Yeah.
You're right there.
Yeah. Jay Billy popping in here. Thank you, Jay Billy, for saying hello.
Hey, Jay.
Happiness and having fun while making kids smile. And Jay Billy is known for this too. Jay Billy is known for putting on some crazy outfits to uplift some spirits and all that. And so we appreciate you popping in here. And so listen, Adam, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you join us this evening. And thank you so much for coming in to talk to us about student conferences and student empowerment in general. If you are interested in Adam's message, again, he is the co-author of the Limitless School, which is all about school culture, and also the co-author of When Kids Lead. So if you are looking, this is just full of ideas for how to put kids in charge of their learning and the school system. And it has also little sidebars and little messages from kids inside of the book. So inside, so you would imagine that a book about student voice and student ownership would have student voice in it, and this one does for sure. There's messages from students inside, and so I love that feature that you added to the book.
That
Anything
was
else?
hands down. Like of all things of the book, I think Todd and I are most proud of that element. That all those little pieces that traditionally, I guess, are put in like adults' hands, like acknowledgments and quotes, and everything is student and kid oriented. So even our forward was written by a student, which I was so proud of there.
That is super cool too. Patty, thank you so much, Patty. Patty's thank you for sharing the impact of empowering students. I will tell you something else about this book, because I noticed that a couple people in the comments mentioned that they haven't read it yet. And that's one of the reasons why I'm so happy that you came on tonight, Adam. This book came out and then the world shut down.
Yep.
And so as we were just putting out a message about putting kids in charge of all these different things in school systems, the pandemic hit, the world shut down, and all of a sudden people are trying to do emergency remote learning and setting up Zoom calls and figuring all that out. And so I think that that's one of the reasons why maybe some of you who love DBC books and have read lots of our books maybe missed this one. It's because the focus became just so much on survival as the world went remote and people tried to deal with that situation. And so now, as hopefully we're going to start to get back to a little more normalcy eventually sometime, I think this is even going to become bigger and bigger. It's more so. Take a look at When Kids Lead. It's fantastic. Again, Adam, thank you so much for joining us. I'm looking forward for the return to a full schedule of conferences and speaking and all that. So maybe we can cross paths again soon.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure. Love getting to hang out with you as always. You and Tara. Thank you guys.
Just out of curiosity, have you been checking your mailbox? Anything arrived to you yet?
Not yet, but now I'm curious. I'm infamously horrible at checking my mailbox, so it's probably been a week. So after this call, I will head out there.
I think you need to check your mailbox, because I've seen some posts already that some places in the country, the DBC author end of the year gift has arrived. Ooh. And so knowing you,
yeah,
and your fashion forward sense,
okay,
I think you're going to be pleased with what comes in the mail for you.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I'm going there right after we finish. I'll text you.
All right. Hey, thank you everyone for joining us again on a Thursday night, DBC Facebook Live Professional Development. We appreciate you. No matter what it is that you are celebrating this time of the year, we hope that it is fantastic and wonderful. And if nothing else, you get some good time with family and friends, and a chance to recharge and kind of get ready for 2022. And so, although I appreciate that you're in here learning with us on a Thursday night, December 23rd, hopefully also you will unplug a little bit and take some time to recharge those batteries and be ready for the coming year. And so we want to thank you again for joining us. Adam, thanks again, and bye everybody.
Bye everyone.